Okay, it's December 20th, and we have Councillor Abbott, Councillor Broughton, Councillor Reuter in chambers. We have Nye online, and Renee, and myself, Mayor Barry, online. So we'll move right into the agenda. We'll call the meeting to order. We have a quorum present, and we're going to move into the closed session, and the proposed topics for discussion in the absence of the public are the committee appointments. Okay, and the meeting being closed to the public on the basis of matters to be considered under the following sections of the community charter were required. The council does consider these matters could reasonably be expected to harm the interest of the municipality if they were held in the public, and that would be section 90.1, section 90A, section 90N. And with that, do we have a motion to move into the closed portion of the meeting?
So moved.
And a second.
One thing I'd like to add to the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to add something that would be on RFP award for Beach Park, and it's just an update for the new councillors.
Is that for the closed session, Neville?
In the closed session, yeah.
Oh, okay, we haven't gotten to the agenda for the closed.
Oh.
Yeah,
We're
we should
just
move into closed.
Okay.
So I will second, we move into closed.
All right.
And I'll stop the recording.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll adopt the, we'll move. Okay, welcome everyone to the December 20th council meeting. We have Councillor Reuter and Councillor Broughton and Councillor Abbott in chambers. And we have myself online, as well as Nye and Renee recording the meeting. So with that, we've got a quorum present, and we'll move right into the meeting. And just bear with me one moment and I'll pull up my agenda. So we'll call the meeting to order. We did have a closed session at 6 to 7. We've moved out of that closed session. We'll reconvene again at the end of this, the current meeting right now, the open meeting. So first item on the agenda here, number 4 actually, is the adoption of the agenda. Any comments or additions of the councillors?
I have none.
I'm good.
No, we're fine.
Okay, motion to approve the agenda.
Yes.
Second,
Yep.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Carried. Okay, with that, we'll move right to the public participation. And Nye, if you can please open up the gallery for comments.
Alison Dudley has her hand up.
Alison's got a hand up. Yeah.
There she is.
All right,
Hi, everyone. Thanks. Can you hear me? Great.
we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. Congrats to new mayor and council. During the election campaign, you all talked about the need to rein in spending, and you also talked about the need to increase openness and transparency on spending decisions. So I know that your council's first real major spending decision was made behind closed doors. The decision you've just made to lay off the CEO and offer him severance package. I work in the public sector and I've been involved in negotiating severance packages, so I know they can get quite expensive. My question is, once you finish negotiating the severance package, will you be transparent with the village about how much this is going to cost us? Thanks.
All right. As discussed during the election, we're looking to be as open and transparent as possible. There's been many questions during this period. Most recently, in the last couple of weeks, we put out a couple messages to the community, and we've tried to be open, but we're also sensitive to the nature of the employment agreements and so on. So yes, I would see us coming out with some of the details later as we move down the path of financial disclosure. And I'll pass it over to the other councillors if you'd like to comment.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, I likewise, I think we should be as open and transparent as we can, but obviously, Alison, you and I spoke about this, and I basically told you I can't say much, and I guess we still can't say much at this time until it's all settled.
All right, Allison, thank you very much for your question.
Yeah, there's.
Any other questions? Sorry, Allison, did you have something else? No? Okay. Now you can move on to the next comment or question.
So we're in public participation for those people who've just joined. If anybody would like to speak, please raise your hand.
Or unmute and talk if you can find the hand button. We do offer that normally.
Thank you, Neville.
Not.
Okay, any other, no other questions?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll move, next item on the agenda, public request for a 10-minute section. 9, was there any requests for?
No delegation requests.
No delegation requests, okay. Move on to item number 7, review and approval of the minutes of the prior meeting, regular council meeting, December 6th. We have some minutes circulated. Any comments, suggestions, edits?
I don't have any. I don't have any. Now, are you checking the weight room? Or was I moving across to do that?
Yes, I am, Neville.
Okay.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll put it forward.
Second, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. Item number 7B, the special council meeting, December 8th, minutes. And we've circulated those. Any comments, questions? No? Okay, a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second,
A second.
okay, all in favor? Motion carried. Okay, item number C, committee of the whole, December 8th. We've distributed those minutes. Any comments, questions, edits?
I don't have any.
No?
Move approval.
All right, second,
Yeah,
Second.
all in favor?
yep.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, business arising from the minutes. Councilors, any items you'd like to address arising from the minutes?
I've got one on page 12. Michael, there was an action you were going to contact concerned resident regarding a chain link fence at Marjorie Meadows, I think.
Yeah,
Right.
if I recall correctly, Councillor Broughton was going to put that resident in touch with me, and I'm still waiting for that.
Right, okay.
And then there was an action for the mayor, a follow-up on the speculation and vacancy tax. Can we just add these 2 items maybe onto the action log?
Okay, I
Yes,
followed up with
Oh, you did?
Mayor McEwen from Anmore. And I have to say, he said that it's Lions Bay has come up on the radar and wasn't very helpful really on any suggestions other than to say it didn't really affect their community, but it had affected Belcarra due to they had many lots, empty lots that weren't accessible other than by water. So he didn't have a lot of suggestions. And I know we were going to look into and try to identify within the village how many properties might be affected here. So that step and looking into this further, I think is warranted.
Yeah, let me just jump in here, Ken, if I can. I
Sure.
think that I wouldn't even know how many people would know that they're going to be affected. So perhaps a survey might not, I don't know how much information it'll yield. I think we'd have to take the next step and take this to the province, I would think. I just don't know, as Pam was pointing out last time, the pieces of mail may not even come out at the beginning of this year. So unless somebody's been paying attention to media reports or tuning into council sessions here, they might not even know this would affect them. So I don't know how helpful that would be at this point, a survey of the village.
Yeah, point taken. I do think we need to reach out to the province. And
Right.
step this up a little bit. I was hoping that some of the smaller communities might have more information, but as I said, Mayor McEwen from Anmore didn't have a lot to offer other than our number had come up, so to speak. So
has Anmore's number not come up yet? Is that what you were saying?
I think the way he wrote back to me, it sounded as though they were actually had been on that list prior to us.
Right. Okay, so we'll put that on
And
the
then we
action
might
bar.
we may be one of the last to have been added to this. So
Well, okay, so we were added in the last go round, I guess, for lack of a better term. We were added, I'm gonna say it was last year. It's the minister's name, Selena.
Robinson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one. She phoned the mayor. From what we understood, it was a fairly short conversation. And we got added to the list. So maybe, Ken, through whatever means, that's where you need to go and maybe engage in a longer conversation.
Sure.
And see if there's something to be had.
was there any other correspondence that other than just a phone call you recall?
No, the
Previously?
mayor reported to us verbally in a meeting. Can't remember if it was open or closed. But
Okay. All right. So it needs to be looked into further.
Definitely.
Okay. Okay, any other business arising from the minutes?
I don't.
Okay.
Okay, we had a presentation in the committee of the whole, and the owner of the store had come forward and had suggested he was going to be requesting a motion of council. But I confirmed with, I checked in with Peter last week, and he indicated that no motion had been brought forward for us to consider. But basically, he was expressing a concern about sort of respectful interactions at the store and asking for council support in that, and certainly that's something, you know, we would always be supportive of. So it was a matter of you know, it's very, very busy through Christmas, and there's lots of wait times and concerns. So he was just looking for our support in that. So nothing further at this point.
Okay. All right. And Craig Doherty did speak to council, and I think that's it. It's been recorded. And if any residents want to visit that committee of the whole, I think right at the very beginning, he had some very thoughtful comments on the store and the post office, and was just hoping, I think, for people to be a little bit kinder in their interaction with fellow residents and members at the store and the post office, especially at this time of Christmas when there's a lot of activities, and I think everyone's a little bit anxious at times. So, but I would encourage people to go visit Craig's coverage there. It was about a 10-minute address to the council. So, okay, any other business before we move on?
Just a small point on the on page 19 there of the committee of the whole. Did we actually have 3 abstentions when we were approving the minutes for May 3rd?
Yes.
We had 3 abstentions?
I advise that everyone could abstain because I was the only one there.
Right.
And it would be counted as a vote in favor,
All right.
and I would then vote, so that's what happened, so.
All right. I don't recall abstaining, but it's not material. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Okay,
Withdraw your.
nothing else. We'll move on to item number 9, unfinished business follow-up actions from the previous meetings. First item on there was a highway maintenance follow-up.
Yeah, so
any-
this is, this pertains to the noise, the highway noise and the reconstruction of the pavement through Lions Bay. Miller Capilano has submitted the pavement condition assessment and MOTI is reviewing that. Next is an asset management report for the entire Sea to Sky corridor. That will hit MOTI's desk on February 28th. So essentially what happens is all of the pavement condition data is gathered. A report is pulled together for the February 28th deadline. And that report will identify what pavement will be replaced in 2023, 2024, 2025. So I have asked my colleagues at Miller Capilano and at MOTI to share with us that information once it becomes public.
All right, that'll be interesting to see that report.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments?
Now, do you know when the cutoff for the budget for 2023 would be? I mean, will this not getting to hitting their desk until February 28th? Will that cut it out of the budget for 2023, do you think, or will there still be time? If
No,
it's
I believe like
to
us,
go ahead?
I think like us, their budget is due the 21st of May. So there's plenty of time.
Okay.
It's standard procedure that they receive an asset management report on the 28th of February each year.
Okay. Okay, good to know the dates. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Nye? Comments? No?
Nope.
Okay, we'll move right to the Climate Action Committee year-end report. And I believe we're waiting for a report from former Councillor Barmier or the Climate Committee.
So when we strike that committee, I'll make sure that this is on the agenda and get Norm's notes or his reports. If not, we'll get the whoever we appoint as the chair to do a recap.
Okay. All right, next item, we covered this off, speculation vacancy tax. I will reach out to the minister in charge. I guess we had Robertson, I think it was the note that I'd taken in the past. So we'll see if we can get some more information on that for the upcoming meetings. Any other suggestions on that?
I think that's the place to start. I don't know if it is the same minister, but I think it was Selena Robinson, I believe. Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
Okay,
Swing hard.
will do. Okay, information requests, page 24, see attached. Okay, that's additional information. I read through that earlier today. That's helpful. Any comments, questions on item number B?
Yeah, I've got one, Ken, on page 24. In the second paragraph, and it mentions Phil Focuson of Red Cape Solutions. So those that don't know, Phil's a local resident and he also is emergency program coordinator. We gave him a contract last year to do, amongst other things, get us up to speed, get our plans all done because we're all behind. And one of the actions was complete an evacuation plan. That's one of the things that's on his list that he hasn't quite finished. And he's adamant and determined we will certainly not go into another summer without it. He has got unspent budget on his existing contract that we gave him last year. So it says here that his contract expires at the end of 2022. So I'd like to put forward a resolution that we extend his contract up until the next budgeting cycle, but do not add any additional value to the contract. And so that he can keep working and finish off that evacuation plan. That's acceptable to everyone.
Yeah, I also saw that his contract was ending very shortly, and I think that's a good call. I would second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Yes.
Yes,
Motion carried.
thank you.
Okay, reports, staff, any reports that you'd like us to review here?
Just the CAO's report on the calendar.
Okay. Has everyone had a chance to review the calendars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we have a little discussion on the calendars? Any thoughts on the proposed? I think there's 3 options there. How does council feel about those? Which do you prefer?
Sorry, what page is that?
90, around 90 or 91.
Okay.
86, I think.
Starts in 86.
Yeah.
Starts on 86, yeah.
I don't mind going first on this one because I've been, as I will know, fairly vocal. In the previous years, I believe we should stick to the first and third Tuesday of every month, which is option 2. I think it allows for people to plan, especially, when I have to travel, for example. I know which weeks of the year or which weeks of the month I'm going to be here. And I also, in previous years, when we went down to the 3-week cycle, which is a little disruptive and has less meetings, we ended up having the same number of meetings because we just ended up having special meetings. So and if we have a council meeting and there isn't much going on, there's nothing to say we can have a 1 hour or half-hour meeting. So my personal preference, both for personal reasons and I think works better, would be option 2.
I guess that would also serve to keep us from having 400 or 500, 600 page packages.
It would also mean
Yeah.
you wouldn't have meetings that go on until midnight or 1 in the morning. Yeah.
And just to be clear, so that would then have first and third Tuesdays, except for January, and then August because of the summer break, and December, we would be essentially omitting the first Tuesday for a strategic planning session instead. Is that right?
Yeah, so there was,
Page 90?
yeah, page 90.
Yeah.
Okay, any other comments, Neville?
There was another opportunity, I thought, on one of the other calendars to combine another session with a council meeting. Oh, sorry, no. So option 1 had it differently.
Okay.
No, I'm good with that.
All right, Marcus, anything from you?
Yeah, I like the option 2 as well. It lends a certain predictability. I like the idea that we're not having huge packages and long meetings. If we do the once a month option, I think we'll be more effective in this way, and we can plan our lives around it a bit. So I like the option 2.
Michael, any comments?
I completely support option 2. I think it gives us the predictability, and also, especially in the first year for this council, I think that we need to meet every second week or 2 weeks a month. If again, meetings can be shorter, and if we don't have a lot of business, and so option 2, I think, is the way to go. It also, the predictability is important. Wasn't expecting January to be delayed the way it is, but that's fine. There's no meeting on the 3rd, which makes a lot of sense. But rather than going 10th and 24th, we're going 17th and 31st. Is that budget driven?
That's option 1, isn't it?
No, that's option 2. January is showing 17th and 31st.
And this is a good point. I missed that.
Yeah.
And the 31st is a combined meeting with the budget committee of the whole.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that. That's a good point. Why wouldn't we go 10th and 24th? Is Pam not going to be available, not going to be ready by the 24th? Now, do you know? Is the 31st timed with BDO's availability, or?
I believe she's gone over the schedule and timed it such. And just a reminder, Pam won't be here after the 13th.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So should we consider amending that and making it the first?
And also, given that Pam won't be available after the 13th, I'm not sure that Pam will necessarily have the same sentiment. No, she probably will. I'd like to meet Pam one last time. So could we not have it meeting on the 10th? And at least we can get an update from Pam instead of the
Why don't we
17th.
do that? That sounds a little more reasonable, and we get a chance to meet with her and exchange a little bit more information before she leaves.
So just to be clear, then we would move the 17th and 31st to the 10th and the 24th?
Unless the 31st has to be fixed there because of BDO's commitment. So that one, if we can go 24th, it might be better, but we might not be able to.
So then we might go 10th and the 31st then instead.
Potentially.
So we need to check with BDO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Obviously, Pam's not on the line. Nye, just a question to you. When we have these meetings every 2 weeks, do you find the preparation time is quite extensive for you? And was that one of the reasons why there was an option to extend these and try to minimize that preparation time?
I know I can't speak for myself because I did not have council packet or council reports at every council meeting. However, I do know that it was a tight timeline for the office staff and the office coordinator to pull packages together. And from staff's perspective, it seems that you just finish putting together an agenda and you've got a week before you've got to have your reports in before you can get the next agenda put out. Having said that, that's standard practice in pretty much all local government. And we've been doing it for a long time.
Okay. Okay. I like the option number 2, although I think in the future, if we are able to streamline things, we might reconsider that. And just for the purpose of how long does it take staff to prepare this information? I know when we used to do reports to steering committees on a monthly basis, they were sometimes 3-4 day affairs in preparation for those meetings. So I can see how that's kind of a bit of a treadmill, but I think, look, given we've had 9 meetings in the first 40 days or so, I think every 2 weeks is probably appropriate. And if we need to cancel a meeting here or there, we can entertain that. So I'm good with that option too as well. Any other comments?
What's
Or-
the suggestion of the 10th to the 24th? Is that right?
Yeah. Sorry, Ken, with the suggestion of the change of 17th to the 10th. Okay. Yeah.
I like that. 17th and 10th. Okay.
So that would
Or
make
was
the
it 24th?
recommendation.
Sorry, was it the 17th and the 10th or the?
No, January the 17th is going to be moved to the 10th.
Yeah.
And then January 31st will be moved to the 24th if it is a suitable date for BDO.
Right. Yeah. Okay. And Pam will inform us on that. Okay. We have a motion for that?
You would need to amend the motion. So it would read option 2 as amended.
Okay. Option 2 as amended to the January 10th and January 24th. And I guess Pam will let us know if there's a problem with that 24th.
Yeah, so the entire motion would be that the proposed council meeting dates for 2023 set out in option 2 as amended, attached to the report entitled Council Meeting Calendar to be approved by council. That's the first motion.
All right. Thank you. Do we have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carried.
And then there's the second motion. That council considers publication of the meeting schedule in the village update to be reasonably equivalent to that which would be provided by a local newspaper publication if it were practicable.
I'll put that forward.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Motion carried.
And that that staff publish the 2023 council meeting schedule in the village update and in accordance with legislative requirements.
I'll put that forward.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
yes.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, next item was under the mayor. I don't have anything further at this time, other than to I would like to say thank you to Pam for all the time and commitment to the village of Lions Bay, and we wish her luck in her new venture with the North Van Recreational District. So thank you to Pam and Peter. We wish him the best in his future endeavors, and of course Norm stepping down as counselor. That we wish Norm a little bit more relaxing time in the future here, but I'm sure we'll see him around the village a lot. So, okay, council, anything, Councillor Broughton, you want to talk about the First Nations acknowledgement for the agendas?
Okay, I'm suggesting that we begin each of our sessions as has become quite traditional in most organizations and certainly governments with a First Nations acknowledgement. And I did some research with the Squamish municipality, and in fact, one of the Squamish band leaders, and the wording that I came up with was slightly adapted here. Was, we're privileged to be meeting and doing work on the traditional unceded territory of the Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Musqueam nations. And it's just a simple acknowledgement at the beginning of each meeting, which has become standard. And as Peter DeJong was saying in the last meeting, is sort of joining the curve in terms of where things are at. We now have Truth and Reconciliation Day at the end of September each year, and in the whole acknowledgement and recognition of truth and reconciliation is, I think it's a very, very, very small request to do that acknowledgement at the start of each meeting. So I would suggest that we begin meetings with that.
Okay, other councillors, Councillor Reuter, any comments?
Yeah, I thank you, Michael, for providing that. I suggest we receive that. I think that we might want to have some more discussion on that as to details. I'm not sure.
Okay, sorry, go ahead, Councillor Broughton.
Oh, okay. I'm just not sure what further discussion, what form that might take.
So maybe ask a question, Michael. So on the previous council, one of the questions was we weren't sure what that acknowledgement should be, and if it should only include the Squamish Nation, given that we all understood this is Squamish Nation territory,
Right.
not Musqueam and Tsleil-Waututh.
Right.
So there was one of the things that held us up, and the mayor was trying to get to speak to the chief, and seemingly that never happened.
Right.
So do we know for sure that, so you being assured that it should be all three and not just Squamish?
Yeah, the territory, I confirmed, and I also discussed this with Ruth Simons, who has been doing this, throughout the Sound. And yes, there's kind of an overlap of territories, and Lions Bay sort of doesn't really fit in any particular one, is what I was told. There's different wording that can be used in terms of talking about the Salish Sea or members of the Salish Sea, and these various bands are all or within a sort of an umbrella group as well, sort of the Salish group. But no, this is what I the research that I did and came up. If you'd like me to confirm that, I certainly could.
Well, I think I would, because that seemed to be a concern last time. I mean, I know that is the terminology used in Vancouver metro areas,
I know.
but that's because they go all the way out to Tsawwassen and so on.
No, I was surprised by that as well. Yeah.
So when you said, well, I was expecting to hear just Squamish.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Okay. Well, I'll do a little bit more research and make sure that what I was hearing from the Squamish Council and the Squamish Band is what I've reflected here. So.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay, good. Look forward to getting some more information on that then, Michael. In principle, I'm in agreement with that, but it would be good to confirm the territory. Okay. All right, item number D2 is the update on the beach park activities. I know there was another get together at the Broughton Hall on Monday. Perhaps we can pass it over to Councillor Abbott and Broughton for an update.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Well, there was more than one get together. There was a breakup group that started on Sunday, and then there was breakup groups that picked various subject matters and areas geographically or by use or utility, and they went away and worked a bit each, and then on last night came back, and those groups reported. We had 20 odd people in the hall last night.
18.
Oh, you set out for 16, we'd pick up more chairs. Okay, yeah, 18 or so people. It's certainly moving ahead. In a direction, getting close to being able to distill it down to what the maybe not the final decision of the group, but certainly narrowing down the options. And that's the plan. And we have another meeting planned for January the 9th, which will be a really short meeting, where Scott is going to update us on what he's understood, what he's heard so far. And then I guess at that meeting, we'll decide what the next step is, but have your say will be soon after that.
Yeah, definitely moving towards a have your say, and again, broadening. There is a huge amount of energy from this group, and there were multiple meetings on site between the original Sunday meeting and our meeting, which is a week ago Sunday, and the meeting last night. So lots of research has been done, lots of great ideas coming forward. I think there will be an ongoing evolution. It really is community consultation. People are hearing each other. Some of the ideas that people held dear to their hearts at the beginning they're starting to say, oh, well, maybe there's some other options, and maybe I understand how things fit together. So it's an incredibly impressive group, and the skill base on the group is amazing. And so it's really a wonderful Lions Bay event, bringing these people together, and the love of the park and the love of the community is just so evident. So anyway, very exciting, and we'll be coming together again with a vision or is this what I'm hearing you saying kind of thing, which causes people to really clarify and deepen their thinking. So it's exciting. We're moving ahead.
That's very positive. Nice to hear that working group is paying off and giving our residents an opportunity to volunteer and really steer that park. So any comments, Councillor Reuter?
No, it sounds like things are moving forward, and thank you both. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, Michael.
Oh no, I just said it's been chilly down there. It's a wonderful experience to be down there in the snow, envisioning what the summer is going to look like. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Keep dreaming.
Yeah. Good
I think the
envision.
next exciting event down there will be the polar bear swim, as I understand it. So
Right,
get ready for that.
yeah.
Okay.
So the sea lion dip and dash. It's regionally adjusted. It's the sea lion dip and dash.
I wish you all well.
Yeah, I used to do it. I haven't done it since I got pneumonia.
Okay. We'll have to remember that one. That's a good out right there. Okay. Next item is item number E, the standing committees established at our last get together. We discussed the mayor standing committees, the HR committee, the finance, the infrastructure, and the policies, procedures, and bylaws. So making some headway on the HR, have some interest from very qualified residents, and I'll be getting together with Marcus and Neville on that shortly, and moving forward to constitute that committee with the terms of reference and NDAs in place, and begin some interviews. So any questions, comments?
Yeah, Ken, maybe if you can share that list, the residents. I had one resident that I know fairly well in mind. I haven't obviously approached him about it. I'm not sure if he's on your list, but we could talk about it offline.
That'd be great. Let's have a chat tomorrow then. Look
Okay.
forward to that. Okay, any other comments?
On the rest of the standing committees, or even that one, Ken, are we going to go out in a village update and call for volunteers, which is the more traditional way we do it?
Very much open. I think every meeting we've had, we've called for interest, and we are getting inbound interest right now, but we can do a little bit more of a formal process on that, and specifically call for that. And no issues there. I think the more times we reach out, the better. So we've seen to date, though, that volunteerism is definitely up, and especially with the beach park. I think we had 18, 19, so that was fabulous. And there has been, I've been adding the inbound requests or interest in these committees to our list as we get them. So, but that's a good point, Neville.
Okay, thanks.
So we did go out in the village update, asking for volunteers on the beach park, right? And that's why we got that good response. So we should, so we are going to do that then for the standing committees as well. And so that we can get that response. Yeah, and reach people who aren't necessarily tuning in.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we do that. I think that's a good idea for all the committees.
Yeah.
Or reach out, and you know, there's a renewed interest, and let's continue to try to bring everyone that we can and all the interest into the fold. And I thought that was a fabulous way to sort of work around that some of the committee limitations that we had on the beach park, where we had it at 3 to 5 members, and you know, we had 18 or 19 interested parties, and then we formed a working group. So that was a really creative workaround, and led by Susan Davis as a facilitator, and she's done a fabulous job. So I think that, you know, if we can continue doing that with many of these committees and try to include people as opposed to cutting people and eliminating people, I think we try to include everybody in this process. Okay. Next. Sorry, Neville?
No, sorry. It sounds good. Nothing.
Yeah,
Redundant comment.
I just wanted to acknowledge Scott Gordon as well. He's been doing a really phenomenal job of helping bring the ideas together and recording it and moving us along. So Scott and Susan together are quite an amazing team.
Yeah, nothing but positive feedback there, Michael and Neville. So that's really good to hear. Sounds like things are moving in the right direction, and everyone's motivated to get this park started. So I love hearing that. Okay, item number E2, committee whole recommendations, establish or reestablish as case may be, followed by select committees. We had number 1 on that was the climate action Councillors Abbott, Reuter, and Highway Impacts Committee, Broughton, Reuter. Any comments on the select committees?
Not for me.
That's good. Yeah.
No, I'm good.
Okay, and the continuation of the committees established by bylaw with the following council members appointed: Emergency Program Committee, Mayor Barry, Councillors Abbott, Reuter, and then the tree committees, Tree Committee Views and Landscape Committee, Mayor Barry. Any comments?
Could I just step back for a second in terms of the parking committee has not been established, but there has been some interest and already people have put their names forward on that one. So it's not we're still working on terms of reference and setting up of the committee and so on. So I just wanted to acknowledge that it is in discussion, but it's not at this formal point yet. So.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Trees and views you were talking about.
No, I think the parking committee, that could be a really valuable one. There's lots of interest in that, and there has been suggestions on alternatives, and I've even fielded a call from one of our more senior politicians on trying to help us in that regard. So I think there's lots of opportunities there, and that could be a really important committee. So looking forward to.
Yeah. I think when we decided to park the parking committee, I think one of the things we wanted to see, get a chance was to review the current parking plan first, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe you can put that on your list of things to dig up, because it isn't in any of the information we received in handovers from Peter. Where the parking plan the last time we visited it and the reasons behind it.
Yes, I'll pull that up.
Okay, and then after that will be a good talking point to decide what that committee looks like.
Right.
And whether we want to do it regionally and all those discussions we couldn't quite resolve.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to see that report. Is there one? There's an existing report out there, Nye? Or is this something you're pulling together?
No, you're muted. No, Ken, we got one each year, so there was one from last year.
Okay.
Yeah, there was one for last year, and I believe there was supposed to be one for this year as well, with information from the bylaw officers.
That's right.
Okay, good. All right, item 3, Trees, Views and Landscape Committees, tree application 12561 Brunswick Road. And that's on page.
Sorry, Ken, do we not need a recommendation do not take a resolution on committee of the whole?
I think we were going to receive that, but there's still some of those details are still in flux, as I understood it, but I could be wrong. What's the other calendar?
In the committee of the whole meeting, we said we'd bring the committee of the whole, we'd put this recommendation to the council, which is what we're doing now. So these ones that we've agreed upon, my expectation was we take a vote now and lock those in. Nye's nodding his head, because the committee of the whole cannot take a resolution, right?
Okay. As for the standing committees, the mayor's committees, I would like to exclude those, because those may change depending on volunteers stepping up.
We're just talking about the committees at this point. Yeah, number 2.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
So just to be clear, that would include the select and then the council liaison assignments discussions that we had on the 8th, right? We're going to move forward with that.
Sure. So we could. They're not listed here, but we could make the recommendation or the resolution that we agree to what was decided in the committee of the whole, with the exception of the standing committees.
Yes.
Is that what you're suggesting?
Yes.
So the resolution.
Can we see a list of those just before we, or subject to seeing that list, I guess, printed up?
Well, that's the work we did on the 8th. So we had Bear Smart, that was myself and Neville, and Bird Friendly, that was Neville, Block Watch, that was you, Ken?
Yes,
And then we had items, that was the list that you provided on the 8th. That was items 4 through 11. Let's see here. Those just required a council liaison, right?
And Michael had a whole bunch on his list.
Yeah,
why don't we get a printed list just to add to this resolution if we're making a resolution on it, so we can see that clearly.
so we'll just do the select then today.
Do select for now.
Let's do the select, and we can just look at the list, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
fine.
Okay, so
Okay.
I
First Nation
Put that forward.
liaison, I had a whole bunch of stuff, yeah.
All right, that sounds good. Do we have a motion on that?
yes, I'll put that forward.
Yeah,
Second.
second,
All in favor?
yes.
Yes.
Carried. Okay, we'll move to the tree application 12561 Brunswick Road.
Sorry, Kim, I was a little bit slow in the draw there, but I knew we had the list. The list is in the minutes. If we want to do it, you can make a resolution as per the minutes. The list is in the minutes. I knew I'd gone through them and checked them and counted them. Just couldn't
What
remember
page is that on, Neville? Just so we're
Page
on.
20, page 20.
Right.
And I knew I'd gone through it. I just couldn't
Yeah.
remember why it wasn't here.
I know, there's so many minutes.
Sorry, I'm just scrolling down to it.
Yeah, Curly Stewart, right.
All right,
Okay, good.
So should we add to the resolution that we also include the council liaison as per page 20 of the minutes, page 20 of the agenda?
yes, let's do the select committees and council liaison.
I'll put that forward.
And I'll second it.
All right, all in favor?
Yes.
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 Motion carried. Okay. Just scroll back. Okay, on to trees. 61 Brunswick.
The mayor was not available, so I attended, but because I was not the designated person, I was there as a private citizen. That was pointed out to me, which is great. And, but it was very interesting how the professional approach taken by the tree committee. I was just very impressed all the way around. The expertise that they brought to it, thoughtfulness, the time they took, and helpful to the both the village and to the homeowner. So it was a real pleasure to be there. So Ken, you'll enjoy that committee, I'm sure.
Okay, well, I see the list here. So is a recommendation just to take this as presented, or is there a motion required on this, Mike?
The recommendation?
I think it's a recommendation.
The recommendation to approve.
Okay,
Neville, did you have any questions?
I did.
All right.
Would you have? I went out there this afternoon to have a look at it. I always like to see these things. And I'm questioning the height, Michael. The height was given as the top of the hydro poles. And if you look
Hydro line, yeah.
the top hydro line, which basically connects within inches of the top of the pole.
Okay.
So, and if you compare that to, so there's a roof, I understand what they're trying to do. There's a house, single story garage, and then it drops off and there's another sort of patio piece on top there. Trees are growing out across the roof. He wants to cut those off. And then I look up and I think, well, we're going up another 15, 20 feet. Why are we going so high? There doesn't seem any good reason for going so high. So, I mean, my thought was it should have been, the roof height plus 8 feet, whatever, which allows for several years of branches starting to limb down. You won't have to touch it for, 5 to 10 years, I would have thought. But instead of having this long, thin pole that's going, at least 15 feet, but it's a little difficult to tell because you're up against it. You can't get far enough away. but it's a considerable height more than he would need to achieve what he's trying to do.
Mm.
So I would like to recommend that we actually pick a reasonable number above the existing roof line rather than go as high as that.
Yeah, on page 100, under 8A, it does specify it is the top hydro line, which is very high up there. If you look at the picture, I mean, that is a single-story garage. And the top hydro line is very high. I mean, I haven't had a chance to get down there, but it'd be interesting to peek at it, or we pick a height above the garage that seems reasonable, because the top hydro line does seem very, very high.
Michael, have you been down?
Yeah, I was there with the tree committee.
What did the committee suggest? What was
They
their,
suggested the hydro line. They felt that that was a reasonable height.
So
And I'm trying to recall the exact.
have a look at that. I mean, I've got a picture here. It's just,
Yeah.
it's extreme. Look, I mean, I know it's fairly low looking up, but it was like, why would you possibly want to go that high?
Yeah. Well, they were looking to.
Because you're going to get this like big totem pole of a tree with stuff at the top. I just,
And you may create an unsafe tree, right?
well, that's the other
If you
possibility.
trim that much canopy.
I don't know. I'm not an arborist, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't think the plan was to branch all the way up. I think it was to give them the authority to trim those branches back, was it not? I have to look at the wording on that.
Trimming and removal up to the height equaling the top hydro line for any limbs that are above the property line.
Mhm.
Yeah. So to the trunk. So to the top hydro line.
Okay, rather than to the property line.
But yeah, you wouldn't trim at the property line, you'd trim them at the trunk, I
Right.
presume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, I haven't seen this myself. I'll go down and look at it when I get back, but into town, but anyone else want to go down with me? In lieu
So I
of,
guess we got to make a decision whether we want to defer it and take a peek at it, or come up with a number above the roof line or below the top hydro line right now and approve this.
So,
Ken, if you want to look at it, I'm happy to do that.
well, not having seen this, I would take the recommendation of the tree committee.
So we could suggest friendly amendment, for lack of a better term, and pick a number that, I would be comfortable with.
Right.
Mark is going above the house.
Right.
And then if the permit applicant is not satisfied by that, he can come back to the next, available opportunity and say, well, that's happened before. I don't accept your amendment, and here's the reason why I think I should be going up higher. But I think he's going to achieve his goal completely adequately without going. I think he'd be happy. I don't know. I would suspect he'd be happy without going up that high.
Yeah, I think, well, what the tree committee did is actually there was no specification of height, as I recall. So they took what they thought was a reasonable height. And I don't think that they saw him as trimming right back to the trunk, but it does authorize him to do that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think it's a positive amendment to say so many feet above the roof. And if he wants more, then come back.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So how many feet above the roof then?
Yeah. 8 was the number that came to mind to me, but I don't know. What does everyone feel?
Sure, 8 sounds good to me.
I don't
Right,
know.
Michael, you good with that?
I don't know what that looks like on site, but that's probably a good start. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll
All
put
right.
that forward.
Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Yes.
Yep.
Sure.
Motion carried. Okay, next item was the emergency services. Nye,
Nothing there.
nothing there?
No.
Okay, any counselors want to comment on this?
So I'm just looking, I was in the details of the agenda package. Just give me 1 second. Emergency services.
Yeah, that's typically where you have the RCMP reports.
Oh, sorry, it's just the heading. Sorry, I'm with you. Okay,
Yeah.
I thought there was something I'd missed. Okay, I'm sorry. Yep. Okay, so heading with nothing below it. All right, it's fine.
Okay,
No.
item 11, resolutions,
There are none.
nothing. Okay, item 12, bylaws. We have the A fees bylaw, amendment bylaw number 623. Recommendation that the fees bylaw 497 2016 amendment bylaw number 623 be adopted. Any comments? Questions on this?
It's final reading, right?
Yeah, this is final reading. We revised it last time to exclude the use of this, to allow for the use of this by community groups.
Right,
Yeah.
right, okay.
I'm happy with that change. Yeah.
All right,
Could I
We have
just
motion.
clarify in terms of the rate for the memorial benches was increased from $1,750 to $2,000 to the $3,000, which is sort of the going rate, is my understanding. There was also a mention of a special rate for renewal at that time, and I don't know if that was, if I misunderstood, Nye, or is there a rate if somebody wants to renew? After
No,
the
what we had talked about was that staff would bring forward a donation policy that would identify the length of time that benches are maintained, and if a bench is up for renewal at that point, what that would look like and what the fee would be.
Okay,
So that needs to come forward as a donation policy that council would discuss and vote on.
for sure. Okay, no, I was just trying to remember the discussion on that. Okay, perfect. And I did forward those two names of the people who are connected to the benches that are there. So thank you very much for your acknowledgement of that. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's going to track the two existing people.
Okay, no other comments. We'll look for a motion to approve the amended bylaw number 623. Be adopted.
I'll move it.
Okay, second. All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carried. Okay, next item is the pesticide bylaw 430, 2011 amendment bylaw number 624, 2022. A recommendation that the pesticide bylaw number 430, 2011 amendment bylaw number 624 be introduced and read and first, the second, and third time. Any comments on this?
This is to meet the minister's new criteria.
Yeah, the criteria hasn't changed. It was a temporary ban, and now it's permanent.
Okay,
We had adopted our revised our bylaw to comply with the temporary ban, and now we're just formalizing it as complying with the permanent one that the province has put in place.
That's correct.
All right.
I've got a couple of questions, Nye, perhaps you could answer them. On page 133, let me just find this here. Sorry, to page 150, there seemed to be, and I suppose it is what it is, but I mean, I was reading a number of exclusions that just seemed remarkable to me. For example, under Schedule 6 on page 150, that one can get an exclusion to this if one is, for example, working around point 11, infrastructure and facilities associated with drinking water and wastewater. I guess I was wondering, why is there an exclusion built in for facilities that deal with drinking water?
To be honest with you, I don't know where this list came from. Marcus. I would have
Yeah.
to look into it further.
Okay. It's essentially an exclusion list to allow, as I read it, maybe I'm reading this incorrectly, for the use of the excluded pesticides in these circumstances. And I see a number of, wastewater processing.
Yeah, my only
Sorry, no, I think this is the list that's in the provincial bylaw.
I believe so, yes. And my only thought would be that if there is, for example, an issue at the wastewater treatment plant that can only be treated by using a pesticide, then that's what that exclusion is for. But we would not follow that. We would rely on the pest companies to use the most non-lethal, pesticide heavy method.
Intrusive.
Right.
Thank you.
I think I said no. Maybe an action is this is first, second, third reading, or first and second reading. Can't remember. But maybe the action would be just Marcus's point, just to make sure that we do have it correct. Is compare this and make sure we haven't either inadvertently or through something in our previous bylaws added or subtracted from what the province is asking us.
Absolutely. Yeah. Council could defer this to the next meeting and we could double check this list.
I think that would be a good idea just to make sure, because it has evolved over several iterations. So let's just make sure we have got a lockstep.
Fair enough.
It was wrong, and then it got wronger and wrong. Yeah. Got wrong.
So you'd need to move that it be deferred.
Okay, do we have a motion to defer?
I'll put that forward.
All right, second,
Mike. Okay.
all in favor?
Yes.
And now you'll undertake to do that comparison then?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is the correspondence, a list of correspondence to December 15th. Neville, you're responsible for reviewing these, and would you like to highlight any that need our immediate attention, and perhaps some that have been posted and read can be taken as read? Just to streamline that.
Yeah, I guess there's quite a list. So I'll try to categorize them and not read all of them. Well, I certainly won't read all of them. So the first one on page on 159 is we received money from the Fire Smart. And I guess this is money spent. We've already done this work, so there's nothing more to do other than that. Receive that and look forward to getting the money. The next one from Patrick Weiler is an online questionnaire on the school food program. Unfortunately, it's you can't complete it anyway if you wanted to, because it's too late. By the time he did the agenda package, it was already past due. So fortunate, sometimes these things happen that way with these two cycles. I'm not sure it was something that was a major one for us anyway. Number 3 is Mike Lee of Canada Post introducing himself and saying that he's the go-to guy if we have any issues. I'm sure Craig knows him and now we know him, so if anything more comes of that, we know who to go to. And you put that name in your Rolodex.
Speed down.
Speed down. Next one is the Fishing and Oceans workshop. We spoke about this in the last meeting. It got moved to a new date of January 10th. So anyone from the last meeting was planning to go to that, make note it's now on a different date. And then page 166. Sorry, one sec. This is the one. Yeah, so this was a very well written email from a non-resident about the bear that we rescued, and I really appreciated the email. I hope you've all read it, and would encourage to you if you haven't. It's very well written. Someone very knowledgeable and very connected to bears for what they do, describing how we can learn from bears. And that they're more tolerant than us. I encourage everyone to read that and read deeply into it. They've also offered to gift us a canvas photo of our choice. And I'll take this back to the Bear Smart Committee, but what came to mind was maybe we did that and then maybe use the canvas photo to somehow raise funds for critter care. It's a little bit awkward to auction things because we're in a municipality, we're not allowed to auction things. But maybe we can come up with something and then donate some money to Critter Care, who at the end of the day is the organisation that is carrying the ball on this, is looking after the young bear, and they're a completely donation-based organisation.
You could gift Critter Care the photo. I'm sure they have the ability to raffle or auction it.
Yeah,
good idea. No, yes, we'll look at that. They could do the fundraising. We could gift it to them and then lend them some support and some publicity, which we're trying to do. So so just appeal to everyone. Great organisation, wouldn't have happened without them. And them and Pacific Wild is another organisation that helped us through this. Do your bit and support those organizations if you can. And then thanks to Trish and Eric William for this.
Who, by the way, I took a look at who they are, and very impressive people.
All right, Neville, anything else?
Marcus was just saying something.
Yeah.
The next one on page 168, Community Works Fund. So this is kind of something similar to the gas tax we used to get, $31,000 that we need to spend in an appropriate way. I did go to the website. It does not look like it'll be very difficult to find something that fits within those parameters. So I think Pam and mine and other staff will have this one in hand. It's fairly easy. You can receive that. On page 170, so on 170, this is the Ministry of Transport. It's a program to enhance rail safety. So I did go look at this and I gave it some thought. We do qualify by the looks of it. It is, targeted at First Nations, but it's not only First Nations. Municipalities could apply. I'd be honest, I couldn't come up with something now that I thought would meet the criteria that we'd want to do around rail safety. And I don't think we can use it to spend money on things we have in hand, like the study of the rail crossing. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem that fits the criteria. But I'd encourage you to have a look and see if you can spot something I didn't know, if you haven't already. And that would bring us on to resident correspondence. I'm just going to go for my notes here. The first one was Rose Dudley encouraging a building permit diligence from council, and we'll certainly take that into account. The next one, or the next two, were Karen Dye and Rebecca Casperson, who live up in our hood up there and wanted to be part of the parking committee. So I'll reply back to them and said we first want to receive the report, and we're going to receive the bylaw report, and then we're going to strike a committee. And I would recommend both those people be on it, to be honest. They've been very involved in this all along. The next one was Uta Phillips, and Ken, I think you responded to this one. I don't know if you want to comment any further.
No, I think it's been posted. We'll take it as read.
Okay. Then we have, and I'll just read the names, and I'm not going to read all of the emails. We have Andrew Ray, Rebecca Gustafson, Alison Dudley, Riley and Bruce, Dash, and that is John Dudley, Rose Dudley, Stephanie Beatty, Doug and Gail Craig, Doug Miller, Rod Baker, and John Phillips, all writing in, asking questions about the recent staff changes, some of them specific questions about the CEO moving on. For now, Ken, I would suggest that I just refer back them to what we've been able to say in the last village update. And as you said earlier, at some point we'll be able to reveal more information. I can do an answer to all of them along those lines. Don't think there's much more we can do right now. It's agreeable.
Yes.
Okay. Then we had one from Mike Hurst asking about the secondary suite. So maybe I'll just update people on that really quickly. Last year, we did amend the secondary suite provisions that allowed for people that are renting to firefighters to not have to pay the surcharge. So Mike doesn't realize that, and I'll advise him of that. At the time, I had hoped that we would make it open to all and remove the surcharge. It was pointed out to me by staff that it was in our community and our OCP. And because it was in the OCP, unless you want to revise the OCP, we couldn't change it. The OCP does talk about a reasonable fee. So I would like to bring to the next council meeting a discussion on this. And maybe we'd like to understand, first of all, a report of the impact of allowing firefighters not to have to pay for it, how much that cost us or not. But I'd also like to suggest that maybe we look at, without opening up the OCP, we just reduce the fee to something. I mean, we try to encourage people to use these secondary suites, and I think we should encourage it. I think things have moved on from where we were, 10, 12 years ago when the OCP was first drafted. So I'd like to bring that to another meeting, the next meeting, if that's acceptable. And maybe now we'd obviously need to understand the financial impact of what we changed last year. I think Pam has those numbers pretty readily.
Could I just pick up on the letter from Riley Dar was about events committee? She was asking about when she would apply for funding, I think so.
Yes.
It wasn't.
So you're right. That's what I've got. That I've got funds for events committee.
Right.
Thanks, Michael. That was not one of the 11 or 12 of the other ones.
Okay.
So I've got that. Yeah. So I can reply to that. I'll ask Pam now exactly which date in which we are going to do that. It'll be on her financial calendar.
Yes, it would.
Or if you know, you can just send that to me and I'll reply. Thanks, Michael.
No, if you could ask Pam.
I'll ask Pam. You don't know. Okay. Understand. I'll ask Pam. And then there was one other one that was different, and that was Uta Phillips was asking about a committee. Which committee was it?
It was a number of them. Yeah.
She was asking for terms of reference, and I believe that once
That's
we
right.
have the terms of reference
Yes.
ironed out, that we'll post those. But there's going to be some changes in those committee.
Yeah, correct.
Terms of
So
reference.
I could give her an update of where we at as of tonight's meeting. And
I think that's part of our review process, because previously the volunteerism had tailed off because of the communications with the with the various committees, and part of the reason was the terms of reference was discussed. So that's something that we want to review, and we'll post them when they're available.
okay.
Could I just make a comment about the correspondence? I think it was Rebecca Casperson was mentioning, she sent in an expression of interest about a parking committee,
Yes.
and then she hadn't heard. So she then sent another sort of expression said, you know, I'm wondering if what the policy is in terms of when someone submits a letter, is it acknowledged?
Okay, so no,
It's just that it's received, not.
it's just, so the way it works is it's just received.
Yeah,
It comes to the next council meeting.
right.
And then, as you know, we take turns.
Yeah, no, I know.
And it's
Yeah.
now my turn. If it is addressed to the mayor, then the mayor will sometimes reply.
Yeah.
If it is urgent and needs to be addressed immediately, the mayor can reply according to the
Sure.
communications procedure, it's not a bylaw, policy.
Yeah,
So it does become a little stagnant sometimes, a little clunky, but if we wanted to change it, I guess we should review that policy and decide if we want to make it more fluid and more
well,
free.
just thinking it's just in terms of, I mean, I've sent something in at different times and I know that it will come up in the next council meeting, but a lot of people don't realize that. So they just don't, it kind of goes into an abyss as far as they know. So it, you know, could just be a standard, you know, it's almost a form response. Thank you for, you know, your letter, your email has been received, will be referred to the next council meeting. That's, you know, that's simple. No commitment beyond that, just information. Is that, could we look at that for maybe reviewing the policy?
My suggestion would be if you're going to change something in the policy, we should look at the policy,
Yeah.
see what else you want to change.
Yeah, exactly.
If any.
I agree. I think we should look at the policy because I think when people don't get a response from their letters, they start to wonder and it creates a lot more questions. So I think it would be nice to get back to people a little bit quicker and more responsive. So that could be covered off in that standing.
Not necessarily addressing the issue in the letter, just the fact that it has been received, just where it went. That's all.
And on that note, a bit of a self-confession. For the first time in 4 and a bit years, I haven't responded timeously to some of these emails. Some of them were because it was the beach park stuff and I wanted to know what the answer was going to be.
Sure.
And others just have been busy, but I will assure you that we won't come back to the next council meeting with any of these that I was meant to answer unanswered.
Yeah, I was just going to say that some of these, this policy might be reviewed when we have that standing committee that's going to look at the policies and procedures and bylaws, because I'm sure there's going to be a few that will undergo some revisions.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to be clear. I'm not questioning the length of time to respond. I'm just saying it would be nice for the person to know that the letter got there. That it's received. That's all. And what to expect.
Okay.
All done.
Perfect.
Okay. Sorry, anything else on that, Neville, or have we covered the month?
That was the list. It was a long enough list for this week.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that.
Most of it's a record, but it's close to.
Okay. I believe next item on the agenda was new business. We didn't introduce anything that I recall early on, or was there something I missed?
No, there isn't any new business.
Okay. So then we'll open it up for public questions. And Nye, if you can manage that for us, that would be appreciated.
Sure, if anybody would like to speak for 2 minutes on a topic discussed in this meeting, please raise your hand. Or unmute.
Okay, we'll just give people a moment.
Yeah, I'm going to jump in and beat everyone else to it. I just want to thank everyone for attending and everyone have a Merry Christmas.
Very good call, Neville. Merry Christmas to all.
Thank
And
you,
we do
everyone.
have one hand. Oh, it looks like it's applause by David Shore.
That's all it is, applause. Thanks very much, guys. Have a great holiday season.
Okay. Thank you, David.
Same to you. Okay, we'll close off the public portion and we'll move back into the, do we have a motion to close off the public portion before we move into the closed session?
So moved.
All right, second. All in favor?
Yes.
All right, motion carried. Now you can close off the gallery if you could, please.